Hey, welcome to the TheTomsters Show. This is episode 2 of the TheTomsters Show. Episode 1 released last week. I consider it a success. Why? Because I published it, and I am grateful for those who listened to it and those who gave me their feedback and those who liked it. And again, I'm appreciative of those who listened to the first episode. We talked about the Summer House drama, Summer House being a show on Bravo, and we talked about friend betrayals. I read a bunch of stories from listeners like you who submitted their friend betrayal stories, and a lot of them were intense. I mean, they were all intense and unfortunate, and I'm happy we're on this side of the friend betrayal moments. So many of them happening in high school, so many of them involving love interests. I mean, what a tough time high school is, really. So, thank goodness that time is behind us for most of us listening. But episode 2 today, after listening to episode 1, I did not do a very good job at all introducing myself. I do want to do that a little bit more right now. I think I assumed, the people that will listen to this will know who I am. And I don't think that's necessarily untrue because it's my first episode, so I'm promoting it on my personal stuff, and I assume those coming across it know who I am because of the reach being so, let's say, limited. But in the event that someone is watching this and they don't know who I am, here we go. My name is Tommy. This is going to matter because we're talking about age this episode. I am 31, turned 31 a couple months ago. I am originally from Utah, now living in San Antonio, Texas. Yee frickin' haw. Here in the 210. Love the weather. Don't say that sarcastically. I'm happy that it is a toasty time nearly all the time here in San Antonio. I enjoy a lot of things. That's why this podcast exists. I like podcasts. I like YouTube videos. I like content, and I like making all those three. And so here we are. I enjoy sports. I enjoy the arts. I enjoy reality TV, i.e. episode 1. I enjoy a lot of stuff. And so I like thinking about stuff, musing about stuff. I consider myself a writer. That is dream number 1, alongside this podcast popping off and giving me a career, if I'm being absolutely honest. So yeah, I like to yap, I like to write, I like a lot of things, and I like to write and yap about those things. So here we are. I talked about this in preparation for this episode on my Instagram pages, personally at TheTomsters, and the show, TheTomsters.show Instagram page. The art of aging and being okay with getting older. I made this a subject for an episode because it's something that I have struggled with, the anxieties around getting older. And I want to talk about those. I want to talk about how I am confronting those and some words of wisdom and just really cool things that have stood out to me the last week or so. Have delved, one of those three, deep into getting other people's thoughts, and whether those be people personal to me or writers or speakers or just people in general. And so I want to share those as well. That's going to be the episode. So age and I have had a complicated relationship as I've gotten older, particularly post-college. I graduated college in 2019, like 2-3 months before COVID changed our lives. And since then, I mean, it's been, I don't know, 6-7 years. 6-7. It's been a good chunk of time since then. And as I've gotten older and as life has moved, as life does, one day at a time, I have found myself stressed out with thoughts surrounding age. And a lot of them really hit me when I turned 30. The day I turned 30, March 6th. All right, 2025. it was a tough day for me. It really was a very anxiety-inducing day, and the time after, weeks, months, even after, a lot of anxiety. Turning 30 for whatever reason, it's a clear turn of a page. When we think about ages 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, it's a natural time, I think, to kind of reflect. And in that reflection, I felt like my takeaway was, man, I am not where I thought I would be. Whether that was with a career, whether that was in just life in general, I struggled with feeling inadequate at 30 when thinking about what I thought my life would look like at 30. And for the vast majority of my life, 26 years, 25, 26, 27 years, I was a very devout Mormon Christian. And in recent years, I've decided that it's no longer for me. And so, yeah, my life looks very different than what 10-year-old thought my life at 30 would be, or 20. There's so many things I'm doing, like drinking coffee on the low end of things, and just not really having such a sure idea of the mysteries of the world. And so, yeah, I was not prepared to turn 30 gracefully. It was a tough time. And my number one, well, I had two reactions to that. One, like I mentioned, a lot of anxiety. And then two, I was like, okay, let's tackle this, because I don't want to feel this way the rest of my life. Like, I turned 31. Oh man, I'm behind. I'm 32. Oh my gosh, I'm behind. Like, I don't want to feel that way for the rest of my life. So let's address it. And my first thing I wanted to do was look at why do I have this feeling of inadequacy at 30? And I, some self-reflection, came to a couple different potential reasons. Number one goes back to what I just mentioned, my formative years being a devout Christian. I had a very sure idea about time, and that it was quite infinite, quite eternal, that there was an existence before this life, the existence on this planet, and then an eternity afterwards. And so time was just a thing that existed, but I also knew it to be infinite, not finite, but infinite. It truly was no cause of anxiety, because let's say, I live 10 years on Earth or 90 years on Earth. It's a dot on the plot line of existence that goes on forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. So time was never something that I considered to be restrictive. And so that's just a fear or an anxiety that I never even knew I had or faced when I had that belief system. And so whether or not that existed and that just blanketed it and covered it up, or had a fantastic answer to that anxiety, which was, you don't have to worry at all, because time is in some way no matter to worry about, because it goes on and on and on. When I moved away from that belief system, like archaeologists on a dig site, I dug up an anxiety that I did not know that I had, which was, oh man, time has an end date. And I don't want to get into right or wrong about belief systems. I don't know. I'll tell you what, for 26 years of my life, I would have said, I know that there's an afterlife. And now I say, I don't know. It could be, but I don't know. And that difference from, confidence in my surety of an afterlife, and my now unsurety of an afterlife, that shift has absolutely impacted me and crescendoed to my 30th birthday. So that's one thing I recognized. I said, okay, I am relatively new to this fear. It's a new one. And so I clocked that. I made note of that. Another thing I think that really messed with my conception of time and achievement and age was the fact that I am a big sports fan. I am a big sports fan, and when people in sports, the sports that I enjoy, which are namely football, basketball, the big ones, baseball, and particularly those first two, especially like basketball. I guess yeah, basketball was my first sports love and something I've enjoyed my entire life. When a player turns 30, like especially these days with kids coming out of school at like 19, they're already 10, 11 years deep into their career, and they're viewed as this veteran. This veteran, this person brings their veteran experience to the team, and they come off the bench and they have all this playoff experience, and they've logged these many minutes and these many games, and they're there to be a veteran presence for the young guys, and guys that I would watch, end up retiring around 35 years old. And I think in my brain, I'm watching sports at 8, 9, 10 years old. And of course, everyone seems so old. I was watching college basketball at 10 years old. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I got D Brown back here. Shout out D Brown of the Illinois Fighting Illini, my first program I loved. But I remember watching him and his teammates, Darren Williams, Luther Head, James Augustine, Roger Powell Jr. I could go on and on and on about that beautiful 2004, 2005 Fighting Illini team. Only 2 losses. Should have won the national championship. I don't want to talk about it. But I just view them as old. And I had this idea. I'm watching Sports Center, right? I was locked in to sports media as a kid, and what the messaging I'm hearing is that 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, and 35. That's old. That's the framing that I'm hearing all this in. And of course, that's not my whole life. I see, my parents and my grandparents and my great grandparents, and they're older than my favorite college athletes. But I really do think that just put something in my mind that like the time of your life for the peak to happen is like late 20s, mid to late 20s. Like that's your time to shine, or like that's your time to make it. Like that is. Like, you don't see rookies come into the league at 30, Very rarely. And if they do, they make a movie called The Rookie by Disney, Like, it's a monumental thing if something like that happens. And so I really think that just had this thing in my brain where I was like, you hit that 3-0, you're now old. You are an old man now. And I've had to do the work, which isn't super intense, but just to be like, okay, that realm of reality, sports, and like athletic prime and whatever, that is not like a fair representation or reflection of reality as a whole. And it just happened to be my my main interest in my formative years, and I'm just getting this messaging, which again, at its core, I don't think it's negative. I don't think the fact that they're saying, oh, this person's been in the league 10 years at this point and they're 30 years old, that's just a fact, and they're a veteran on the team. That's just a fact. They've put in 10 years at this place of work, right? That's a long time to be at a place. They've been in the league for 10 years, that's a veteran thing. If anyone was working anywhere for 10 years, you would say, oh, love that their experience is here. But they don't retire at 35. You're not retiring at maybe 38 if you're Tom Brady, 42 or whatever he was, or LeBron right now, Like, that's not normal. And in my head, that was what I was hearing the most, and so I think that's what was like normal in my brain. Although again, all of this is the backdrop of me living my normal life. I'm not an athlete. I'm not. You're not tuning in here and saying, "Oh, I can see why you had the athlete's mentality because look at you." No. That's just what my interest was and still is, and it just you're learning about the world, you're learning about life, expectations, reality as a kid, and that is just information I was taking in. Oh, okay. So, retire at 35 or retire at this or success at 30 looks like this or whatever it might be. And it messed with me because I was comparing myself to, inadvertently, I wasn't thinking like, okay, let me look at my life compared to Steph Curry or anything. That was not ever on purpose, but just, I don't know, just the age, just that number, 27, 28, 29, 30, like it just was given a certain flavor of this is pretty darn old. This is pretty darn experienced. 30, 31, 32. Oh my gosh, we're getting to grandpa age. Because if you were to hear about like a 38-year-old football player, you're like, oh my gosh, is he okay? Do we need to check on his vitals? You know? And so I've had to do the work to just basically implode that idea that like that's anywhere near normal. So again, I hit 30. Boom. I'm like, oh my gosh. And in my efforts to improve things, I clock, okay, religiously, I had answers to age and time, and that was that there really is like no time. Like infinite existence is my soul, my body. And that shift in beliefs took that away. And so now I'm dealing with my own uh, humanness, frankly. And that's a newer thing. So there's one, item that's playing a role in my anxiety of aging. Number two, a framework that did not work out in my best interest that I picked up as a kid and into my teenage years and just it was always there. And that's something I need to adjust. And so in that effort, I have, oh, one more thing. Okay, so those were the two and three, and then I'll talk about how things have improved. But three is just the culture in the United States when talking about aging and the elderly. All right, in my research and just by living in America, it wasn't a surprise to me when I saw this research, but there have been surveys done, studies done, asking people here in the United States, what comes to mind when you think about aging? And the most common response had to do with memory loss, had to do with the the body breaks down, had to do with a lot of negative things. The vibe, the tone was negative. And then they asked people the same question, what comes to your mind when you think about aging, from everywhere else but the United States? And the responses were wisdom, experience, lessons learned, a lot of positive things. So for whatever reason, individualistic versus community, whatever the root is, the terminology, the vibe, the understanding, the response, the respect towards aging and the elderly, it differs vastly between the United States and basically everywhere else. And it's not even like East or West. You look at Latin America, all right? The way that the Asia and Latin America, those are the two top cultures that come to mind, which I know it's not monolithic, but just objectively looking at a lot of the cultures within Asia, within Latin America, you see the attitude towards those who are older, a lot of respect, a lot of love, a lot of, you bring them home. You don't have them go somewhere else like we do a lot here in America. And there's not an emphasis on get this procedure to look younger, get this to look younger, try to become younger. You accept aging. Aging is a part of the human experience. And so I think that just served as the stage for all of this, was that I'm here in the United States. And, I'll be honest, like growing up somewhere like Utah too, there's a lot of emphasis on looking younger, and I'm sure that there are really interesting and frankly troubling reasons why there's an obsession with looking younger in America. And so it's just that's just the stage for all this to happen. So those were my three takeaways. One, like, okay, my religious beliefs blocked any um, need for me to really confront the fact of aging. Two, the sports obsession of mine led to this idea that success shows up in your late 20s, your early 30s. That's the time for success to show up, whatever that success might be. And that was all on the stage of getting older is like kind of a bummer. So do your best to not look that old, and make sure you're doing all the things early in life, because getting old is like wah, wah, wah. And so those were my key takeaways from my own. Okay, why am I feeling so scared? Why do I have this fear? Those were the three biggest like monsters, if you will. Okay, and so how have I tried to tackle these? Because I'm not perfect at it. I'm only a year ish removed from this, but what I have come to realize are a few things. One, I have found a lot of comfort in those who are older than me telling me, hey, life is a journey. Life has a new page every day. Keep going. And success looks different for different people. If you're comparing yourself to this person from your neighborhood growing up, your high school growing up, your neighbor now, or whatever, everybody's story looks different. Everybody's story looks different. And just because someone finds success younger in life doesn't mean that you can't find success later in life. And those successes are equal. And to be focused in this sense on your journey, on your time, embracing the fact that you don't know what's after this life, if there is anything. So live the life that you know that you have, which is the one today. I have found a lot of comfort in people who do say specifically, as I have crossed into my 30s, that they really enjoyed their 30s, that they felt, everyone that looks back is like, oh, that time that I thought was old, it wasn't old. I'm older now, and that was younger than I am now, which obviously makes time sense, but I haven't come across too many. I've found many more people with that sentiment, say that sentiment of at 30, yeah, sure. I thought, man, I am old. I know a lot of stuff. And now I'm at 40 and I look back at 30. I'm like, nope. I was young and I did not know a lot. And now I know more and I have more experience. And it's just a part of life, going day by day, year by year, okay? And just being there for it all, the good, the bad, the ugly. And I think for me too, one thing that was a response to the fear was my ambition, my drive to try new stuff or whatnot did shrink, because I was like, man, I mean, I missed my window. Like, I've missed my shot. I missed my chance in some capacity. So it shrunk my ambition. It blew out that flame, if you will. And so, and I don't want that. I don't sit there being like, yay, woohoo. I'd sit there thinking, man, I wish it could be true that my window hasn't been missed. And thank goodness for like the one time, this doesn't usually happen, but the thing where I'm saying, man, I wish this thing wasn't true. That wish came true. My way of thinking was the flawed one, not reality. And in this case, thank goodness. Thank goodness. And so what I call the art of aging is embracing that and creating a picture that embraces the fact that we are getting older every single day. It's not a human thing. It is a living being thing. The animals we love, the plants we love, the people we love, we're all getting older. And that doesn't have to define our ability to do things, our ability to succeed, or in terms of a window. I think that was one of my biggest things, was like a window of um, a window of opportunity has passed. And sure, yeah, like um, certain things I guess have passed, but I thought so many more. Like the defining moments in my life, I was like, they are no more. They are gone. My ability to really do anything is gone. And saying it out loud sounds so silly, but that is so much how I felt for a long time. When I was 29, that whole year I was so scared of turning 30. Like my 29th year was just had that cloud, that 30 year old cloud just following me around, and I turned 30, and I truly had like panic attacks surrounding that age. And so I'm grateful for, and it's not lost on me, the irony, because it all plays, it's all woven in, but I am grateful for the wisdom of those who are older than me to share with me that what I've been thinking is false, which is the best case scenario. That my thought, my idea that my window of opportunity has passed, that I am behind, that I am slow in succeeding or whatever, like that is all in my mind and not set in reality. And I can go and do the thing. I can go and do the podcast that I'm recording right now, whatever it might be. And so I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful for the lessons I've been able to learn from others. And I do say this with truth, and I pair that truth with some personal bravery, that I am excited to keep growing and getting older and learning and seeing what's in front of me and attacking every day with a mindset of I'm gonna make this. I'm gonna go after my dreams, and I'm gonna go after what I want to do, and it's not too late. It's not too late. That is a direct retort to a thing I've heard in my mind so many times by myself, to which was, it is too late. It's too late. Oh, I'm sorry, you missed it. Oh, that bus has driven away. That train has left the station. So, in direct speaking back to that part of my brain is, it's not too late. It's not too late. It's not too late. And there are people that I'd look at for inspiration. I have done specific research of who are people that are successful, that made their success later in life. And the most common are like Oprah, Morgan Freeman, talking about like his first major role. There are some names that are like direct popular answers to that. And so that has helped. But also just believing, even if I can't see it, even if I don't truly have full confidence in it, still saying it and still leaning in to the belief that I do have time and that it's not too late. And and you know what? Here's the thing. I give myself this challenge where if I don't feel super confident in that, I'm like, it's not too late. I'm saying it, but do I really believe it? I'm like, okay, I gave the other belief so much time and attention, it is too late. How about I just give this one a try? Let me just give it a try. Let me just give believing in myself and believing that it's not too late a try. And if it fails, it fails, okay? But if it succeeds, oh, what a turn of events in the best way possible. So we'll just see. And again, I'm going to be just completely honest. The fact that this show is a thing and then I'm yapping here and you're watching, you're listening, is evidence of me just putting full faith in that belief that it's not too late and I can go after what I've wanted to go after, but just feel like, oh, it's too late, so I can't do it now. And just pushing it. And then every time I'm like, oh, maybe I want to do that, I'm like, oh, no, now it's even further down the line, too late. So if you can relate to any of this, I would love to hear your thoughts. I would, whether it's in a comment section if you're watching this on YouTube, whether it's a clip of the show. if you want to send me a DM or whatever, I would love to hear your thoughts. Again, my ultimate desire for this show is to connect and yeah, I mean, to connect. I think that's the greatest gift we can give to one another and the greatest experience we can have as a human being is to connect with other human beings. That's my personal opinion. And that seems like a great time to sign off for this episode. So I appreciate you listening to episode 2 of The Tomsters Show. I will see you next week. I got ideas a brewing for what we're going to talk about, and I'm excited. Until then, goodbye.